There was nothing in her eyes except pain and fear. After the accident, the driver didn't stop. He just sped away, leaving her broken on the road. People nearby rushed to help. They lifted the injured dog and took her to the only veterinary clinic in the city. But the case was far too serious for them. Her pelvis was crushed, her tail was severed, and her claws were broken. They admitted they didn't have the ability to perform the kind of surgeries she needed. That's when someone reached out for help. They sent a message asking if we could take her. Without hesitation, we agreed. When we picked her up, she was starving. She ate quickly, desperate for food. But even after her stomach was full, her body stayed tense. Her eyes darted around with fear, and she never relaxed. The accident had left her unable to walk properly, and she seemed unsure if she could even trust us. When she looked at us, it was like a child begging for compassion. The very next morning, we drove her to another vet. Blood samples were taken, an ultrasound was done, and later she went through an ECG scan. The good news was that her organs were fine, no internal bleeding. But the bad news was written all over her body. She was broken in too many places. That evening, she lay silently on her bed. I tried to play with her at the park, but she just sat and stared into the distance. 2 days later, something changed. Slowly, she started to trust me. She wagged her tail when I came near and even bonded with a small dog we introduced to her. For the first time, I saw a little spark in her eyes. But the test results were still heavy with worry. The doctors explained everything in detail. Her tail was severed near the base of her spine, damaging nerves and leaving her partly paralyzed. Her hind legs were affected too, and her knees were fragile. She had sensation in her paws, but she couldn't stand. The vets decided to move forward with surgery. The first operation went well. Afterward, the doctor told us recovery would take months. Nerve healing was slow and uncertain, but at least she had a chance. We brought her home, determined to give her the best care. But there was one thing I couldn't shake, the sadness in her eyes. Even though she was safe and healing, she always looked like she was waiting for someone. We thought maybe she had an owner and missed her family. So we started asking around. 10 days later, she still wasn't walking. We grew worried again and called the surgeon. He suggested an MRI and a neurologist visit. Around the same time, another problem came up. She might have stomach atrophy caused by a poor diet. It was one setback after another. The waiting was the hardest part. Looking at her, knowing she had already been through so much, I kept wondering how much more she could take. But every time I doubted, she showed me a little strength, licking my hand, wagging her tail, or looking at me with those big eyes that said she wasn't ready to give up. When the MRI results came in, we finally had some clarity. There were lesions in her lumbar spine, but surgery was too risky. The doctor suggested rehabilitation instead. It wasn't a perfect answer, but it was hope. Her therapy began almost right away. 3 times a week, from morning until evening, she went through exercises and treatments. At first, her sessions focused on warming her muscles, gentle massages, and small movements to build strength. Slowly, she learned to place her toes properly, and her legs started responding. The work was exhausting for her. Some days she looked like she wanted to quit, but she kept trying. Alongside exercises, she had laser therapy on her sciatic nerve and occasional painkillers when things got too hard. Day by day, the progress was small but steady. 3 months later, something incredible happened. She stood up with help, but she stood. Her first shaky steps made everyone in the room stop and watch. After so much pain, after so many sleepless nights, she was finally moving again. The people at the center were amazed at her determination. She never stopped trying, even when her body wanted to collapse. Gradually, those shaky steps turned into short walks. Soon, she was standing and moving on her own. But there was heartbreak too. During this time, her original owner was found. At first, we thought maybe she'd be reunited with her family. But when we contacted him, he said he didn't want her back. He had known she was hurt before, but chose not to care. Hearing those words broke us. She had suffered so much, and the one person who should have protected her abandoned her. That moment sealed it for us. She was never going back. Months passed and her strength returned. After 5 months of rehabilitation, Lucky had recovered nearly 80%. She could walk, play, and even run short distances. The nervous, broken dog who once lay on the road after being hit by a car had turned into a bright, happy soul. And that's when she came home to us for good. Now, Lucky lives surrounded by love. She has her own space, her toys, and her family who will never abandon her. She eats well, plays daily, and sleeps peacefully without fear. She's not just surviving anymore. She's living the life every dog deserves. Her journey proves something important. With care, patience, and love, even the most broken animal can heal. She had every reason to give up, but instead, she fought. And we were lucky enough to stand by her side through it all. Lucky's story is not just about survival, it's about hope, resilience, and the power of second chances. If this story touched your heart, please give this video a like. Share it so more people can see how rescue changes lives. And if you have your own rescue story, leave it in the comments. We'd love to hear it. Every share helps more animals like Lucky get their second chance.